Good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, November 7th, I believe, and I am up here at the Nolde State Forest, and I am going to be doing a trail that I saw on All Trails that follows. It's called the Nolde Forest Trail, and I'm looking on the map here, and I'm going to show you which loop I'm intending to take. And then we're going to go around the parking lot here because there's a lot of little historic buildings here, so I want to look at them. They have some maps, paper maps, and look, they have blaze safe vests for everybody. I have some orange on me today, so I'm not going to be wearing one of those. And a lot of information here. There's apparently turtles here. That's good because I haven't seen a turtle all year long and I've been looking for them. So first, I think over here is the Sawmill. Yep, it says historic Sawmill. I'll take a gander at that. And then there's a little platform up here, so this is the parking lot. Apple Maps told me to turn left on Forester Road, but that is actually Sawmill Road, according to the sign. So, you know. Okay guys, so I'm doing this post hike because I did deviate from the original trail that was listed on All Trails. There were just some things I wanted to see that were outside of their trail that I had originally intended on doing. So what I did was I started here at the Sawmill, the historic Sawmill in this parking lot. I took Beach Trail over here to the North Pond, and then went back out the beach trail. I took Coffee Pot Hollow Trail all the way up here to Firegate 3, turned on Apple Tree Trail, over a little bridge to the Springs of Punch's Run, which was also Boulevard Loop, and went down this way, and continued to follow Boulevard Loop down to a rock outcrop, and then Collier's Way back to the Coffee Pot Trail, to the beach trail, to Shearland Trail, and back to the parking lot. So you can probably, I've done this take like 7 times now, and I didn't know how to do it because it doesn't seem like it's close enough that you can see it. So you'll just have to like blow it up if you want to. However, they do have trail paper maps at the trail, and having this area downloaded in your GPS or in your All Trails is very helpful because, as you can see, there's tons of things to see here. I missed the Kissinger Bridge, historic stone bridge, a mansion, Forester's Bridge, there's a water tower, you know, just a couple of different things around there. So definitely want to go back when I have time. Quick shout out to my neighbors, Dave and Faye Groff, who constantly provide me with information to seek out new trails and get myself out there and, you know, experience things. These books were lended to me by Dave. He used to work on the Schuylkill Fire Towers for many, many, many years. I think he's retired now. These were originally put out in the early 80s, and they have quite a few hikes. I apologize for the light reflecting off there. But they have quite a few hikes in here. A lot of them I already knew, but there's some new ones as well, and that's where I found today's hike at Nolde Forest. But Dave and Faye have provided me also with a whole bunch of maps and posters and different things to use. So huge shout out to them. Thank you, Dave and Faye Groff. Okay, so you can see this says historic Sawmill. The brochure here doesn't tell you a lot about it, like easy to find information. It might be buried in some of the paragraphs, but holding my phone in one hand and the paper map in the other, not really conducive to reading that. But this is a building right in the parking lot. Pretty cool. What is this? Some kind of a dam, it looks like. Some historic dam. And as we saw, there's water flowing out of it on this side. this is where the water's coming in. Nice little stream there. It's nice to have the fall colors out as well. And let me check around because I got to figure out where I'm going. Holding this map in my hand and trying to use my phone is just a real pain in the butt. So walking past that dam and up and around, there's a trail. To the left it says Watershed Trail, but there's this to the right. And just a few minutes ago, I saw some kind of an animal around here underneath these picnic benches. Not sure what it was. It was maybe a dog, multicolored dog. But on this side, we can see this dam or whatever it is. I don't know. You would think they'd have more signs to tell you what this is. You see there's the bathrooms. I'm just kind of exploring. See the parking lot's right over there. And you can see this from a different perspective in here. Kind of looking around for that animal as well. Look, this is so pretty. Oh, much better view over here. You have that, and you'll see a bunch of little cascades in this stream here. I've spent like 10 or 15 minutes. Isn't it pretty? Just getting acclimated to the area that I'm in. Making sure I got my bearings before I start. Look how pretty. Oh, look. Gorgeous. And hopefully we start to get further and further away from that awful noise. Look at this forest. It's still ripe with color. Or is the word rice? I don't know. There's someone else up here hiking towards me, so they're probably coming back from a little hike. Oh, by the way, that animal had to have been a dog. Probably the owner was the guy using the leaf blower or weed whacker. I heard the dog barking over by him. So we're still following along this pretty little stream. Really nice out there. The road's right there. But you can still see how pretty this little stream is with all the little leaves in it and colors around it. And so for now we're following it. I see over there through the trees there's like another little bridge. Might go over there, might not. I want to kind of head out towards this north pond too today. It is, I don't know, maybe around 2 p.m. I'll have to check that. But oddly, I was supposed to work last night, or so I thought. And I got there and there was another nurse there, and she showed me the schedule, and apparently she was on the shift. So went back home. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I can go hiking next day. Look at that pretty tree. Sun's over there. I'll try not to do that to you again. My last video, the sun was just really killing my filming. Looks like there's a blowdown already on the trail. We haven't even gone a quarter of a mile. But maybe someone's already made their way through it. It doesn't look like too difficult to get through. And my map says we're supposed to go to the left instead of the right here onto the Shearland Trail. So we're just going to carefully pick our way through this little mess. Wow, that's terrible. I hate when things fall down. But that way would be the Watershed Trail, we are going to the left here onto the Sheridan Trail to follow the All Trails map that I'm on. And that isn't too hard to pick through. It's just kind of a mess. Going uphill just a little. Not sure about the elevation here either. Like I said, this was last minute, so we'll just see what we can see. There's a little hill you climb up, and then to your right, there's a little path. Goes down to the North Pond. It is called the Beach Trail. But we're gonna go down to the pond and then come back up to finish out the other loop. There it is, the North Pond. Obviously it's small because it's a pond, so you can walk all the way around it if you want. There's a little platform and a bench. You can look out over it and see what we can see. There you go. Pretty little pond. Okay, on our way back up from the pond was downhill all the way here, so it's going to be all the way uphill back to where we need to be. On the other side of that post says Beach Trail, which is what we were on, going down to the pond. Ooh, look at this forest. It's exciting. But I am having a delightful time already. The forest here is so nice. There's so many different colors of leaves, different types of trees. I've seen a couple squirrels, heard a couple noises in the woods, so we'll see. Let me turn you around here. I'm not sure what this is. It says 1 mile to FG3. Not sure what that is. Bench here. There's also a path up that way. I have to look back on my map. But I keep stopping just to enjoy my surroundings today. Because isn't that the point? You know? Going a lot of miles or going fast really isn't the point of hiking. Not for me anyway. Just so you know, the first part of this trail, there is, you know, a good bit of climbing up, but so far they've been not too steep. So, but we'll see, because this one up here looks pretty steep. So I had to put my buff on over my ears. That's really one great thing about having this buff. It covers my ears or my neck if I want, and it's also blaze orange, so you know, it does double duty. And when I'm not using it, I always have it hanging off of my pack, so you know, maybe triple duty. Okay, this is Fire Gate 3, where you enter the trail from this other parking lot. So I'm guessing what that FG3 meant. That. It's a little trash cans here if you have anything to get rid of. And continue on. Now this looks like kind of like a road, forest road here. Let's follow this down. Okay, we get to the bottom here and we have a split. You have the apple tree trail going straight ahead. I believe that is the spruce trail going up. And we're going down this way to the Watershed trail. So right where that trash can is, in the middle of those two roads, that's the trail you want to go on to see these springs. Check that out. That is pretty cool. Let's get down in there a little bit. That is crazy. Wow. That goes back pretty far. I am not going to go back there. Let me get my headlamp out and see if I can shine some light on it. Yeah, that's the best I'm going to get. Looks like it goes back a fairly decent amount. Yeah, I'm not going to go in there, but pretty cool. Wow. Right up from that, we have these two things. I guess they were more entrances to the spring. Just concrete. Cinder blocks. Looks like they were closed off from the front parts. And there's a trail going that way and one going this way. Not sure which one I want to be on, so. But there you go. The Springs of Punches Run. That's where we're at. I'll have to find out more about that when I get home. Another ginormous tree root. Not the largest I've seen, but pretty big. That highest branch is probably 10, 15 feet up. Here's the trail we're on now. It looks like this just kind of cuts through the forest, but look at how pretty this is. Nice soft pine needles under your feet. I see the blaze here, Watershed Trail. I like it. Man, there's nothing better than walking on soft pine needles. I couldn't get enough. I wish every trail had it. Oh, look down here. Something else. Oh, it's a couple things. I'm just gonna have to check them out. I have no idea, you know, just spontaneous adventure here. Ooh, it's boggy. I guess there's usually water running through here. There's just this little stone platform. And down here, yikes, I'm sinking a little bit. Gotta get back up on the trail. But I did want to show you this, because I'm not sure what it is. It says no trespassing. And let me zoom in. There's a pipe from it to where the water is. Not real sure what that is. Maybe somebody knows what it is and can tell me in the comments. But we're gonna get back up on the regular trail because it is a bit boggy down here. And I see that that goes down the mountain. We're gonna be beside this trickle the whole way. So we'll see if we can get down to it a couple different ways. But we're going back on this regular trail. Going across a couple of these little bridges, and I had hoped that this run would be really cool thing to walk beside, but as you can see, it's pretty dried up. A cool bridge that we crossed over as we came out of the woods, and there was a couple of hikers, and the one had a vest on that said hearing impaired. So, you know, when you see that, it's a little sign. You think that is so cool that people, it looked like a kid, maybe teenager, and it's so cool that people get them out on the trail as well, you know, in a safe manner. The trash can. Oh look, the privy, just what I need. Around this corner to the privy, you see an old hand pump, water pump. Pretty cool. Right out in front of the privy. And there's some picnic benches out here too. And that's like a little overlook, I think. We'll go check it out. Noisy as it is this time of year. Yeah. And not overlooking a lot, just a lot of trees, but it's still pretty. Okay, when you come out of the privy, it can be a little confusing. There's several trails that say Boulevard Trail, and that's the one I want to be on. I just had to look at my All Trails map to see which one I was going on. And yeah, so I'm gonna head down this way. Gotta tell you folks, that wasn't the best smelling privy I've ever been in. Still so much color. So pretty here. It's pretty a lot of places right now. I think we had just a late fall, you know, late, the foliage turned a little later than I expected it to. And right now, it just seems like it's the peak of color. So, the last 2 or 3 days at home, we had a big power outage. It was like 2 days long. And the whole time, my generator was running. And I am so thankful and lucky that I bought a house that had a generator. And this generator, I don't have to mess with it. It just comes on by itself. It stays on until the electric comes back. But it is extremely loud. And it is right outside my bedroom window. So, you know, I was listening to that, a little bit of broken sleep. But last night it finally shut off and the electric came back on. But what I found funny about this whole thing is that I wasn't sure if my generator was just running rampant. It was the first time it had ever run for more than maybe 2 minutes to 10 minutes. And so I couldn't tell. And I didn't have internet, obviously, without electric. We also had some problems with Comcast in the area. But what was interesting was when you called the electric company, MedEd, they send you through a menu tree and give you a link to check on your power outage. It's crazy. If I don't have power, I don't have internet, but it won't let you go anywhere. It won't connect you to a customer service. It specifically says, cannot connect you to customer service at this time. Look at this. Let's start over here and see what we can see. Very noisy, very noisy. Oh, gotta be careful around here. Alright. Look at that. Neat. And it just overlooks the forest and the mountains. Look at that. Gorgeous. Okay, so we're up on top of this outcrop right now. It's not super high, but you know, when you have one hand holding the camera, it's a little bit more difficult. Let me shut this off again for a minute before I fall. Okay, now I'm up on top of it completely. And now you can really see the forest and the little mountains in between. Beautiful, beautiful overlook here. And we are up off the ground. It's not super high, but it's a nice little rock. Okay, right after that rock outcrop, again, there's a couple different ways to go. I'm going down Collier's Way. That will lead me back to the Coffee Pot Hollow Trail and then back down to the parking lot. It does look like it is all downhill, so that's cool in a way. With the leaves, you do got to be careful. It can get slippery, but just take your time and you should be okay. Short people like myself, we have to get over these however we can. A little tough. I just throw my trekking poles over. Yeah, that was not easy to get over. Collier's Way looks like a great shortcut through the woods, and I guess it kind of is, but take note that it is a steep downhill, and right now the leaves are covering up a lot of small rocks. I'm fortunate that it is not wet or hasn't recently rained. That would make it even worse, but I did have to get up my trekking poles, and I suggest you either do the same or use a walking stick. Be very careful. And it's not far to the car, maybe a quarter of a mile from here. So, and it looks pretty easy. It was easy coming in, so just enjoy the rest of the colors on my way out. Okay guys, so I'm going to wrap this up. I can see the historic sawmill from here, and we're back alongside of this cute little creek here. And it was a very pleasant walk today. Temperatures were pretty perfect. My ears did get a little bit cold up in the top of the mountains there, but you know, nothing major. It was downhill most of the way back. That was a plus, but I did have to use my trekking poles, like I said, because some of those downhills were pretty steep. And yeah, it's a really nice park. Now I know right across the street from where I parked, there are also other trails. So I'm gonna check them out sometime too. And where trail I walked was about 4 miles today. I will probably show a map of that once I get home and put that at the beginning, because I didn't exactly follow the All Trails trail, and it'll just be easier to show you once I get home. So anyway, I'm glad you guys were able to come along with me today. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time on the trail. Namaste.